If you grew up in a tradition like I did, going to church, you heard this word Sabbath before, but you didn't really think about it because that was something they did way back then. And so, I didn't really think it had that much of a bearing on my life. When we get into the story this week, we have the Pharisees really upset with Jesus because he's violating the Sabbath. And it says that his disciples are walking along and they're picking grain and they're going, "Hey, your disciples, they're violating the Sabbath. They can't do that. You have to make them be better." The Pharisees get real upset with the disciples because they're plucking grain and eating it. And that's not something that you do on the Sabbath. And then you get the story where Jesus heals this guy with a withered hand. And it says that, he comes into the synagogue and Jesus sees him and heals him because that's the good thing to do. And you get to the Pharisees just being upset about these really small things from our perspective. But you see, they had all of these rules that had to do with what you can do on the Sabbath, what you can't do on the Sabbath. And Jesus is trying to move them along to a better understanding where he goes, look, people weren't made to follow the rules. The rules were made to give the people guidance and what it means to follow after God. And so Jesus, he takes this and he uses this to show them that, the Sabbath is for people. People are not made for the Sabbath. It's really on the tail end of which Jesus is talking about, take this yoke upon you that is light, that is easy, that will show you what it means to live a life as a follower of Jesus. He's moving that concept along as he goes, the Sabbath was meant to give people a rest. The Sabbath is meant to be that thing that gives a holistic experience to life where we're not living out of fear and trying to control the world around us, but we're following after God with all of our hearts. And we're taking this yoke upon us where Jesus is easing the load because we're called to do good, and we do good on the Sabbath because that's what God is calling us to do.